this is my final day. Before we started recording, you were still stunned that I'm in this apartment.
It's true.
Yeah, and this is the final time I'm recording in this apartment. But now that I'm leaving, I want to tell this story on a podcast. I had refrained from telling it just because I live here still, and I don't want any particular way for me to get doxxed at all. And if I describe anything about my home or wherever, I'm sure some freak would find that, like whoever tracks me. But I've been wanting to talk about this for over a year now.
Let's hear it.
And
So this is not just about the stare that kills you instantly. There's other stuff coming up here.
No, there's so much more about this apartment. So basically, when I first got this place, you go through, you do a tour, you look at it, it's like, wow, this is a good place. I'm gonna live here. I'm gonna pay rent to a landlord and live here. This is, don't love having to pay rent to a landlord. But it was a nice place, decided to live here. We got the keys, moved in, and it's like, oh, we opened the door to the mud room. We have like one of those just like little you step in. It's small little room before you get to the living room.
Yeah, you can put your bikes there. You can put other things that are sort of too dirty for an actual home. Exactly. I don't know why I really enunciated my T there on dirty, but I just really wanted to.
It felt nice. Yeah. But it's the dirty room, right? Mud room.
Right. The dirty room, yes.
The dirty. And so the day we get our keys and walk in, there's a hole in the mud room. And we're
you never told me about this.
Yeah. No, this
like
has been a
floor?
major. No, in the wall. So there was a hole in the wall, and it was a rather small hole. And we were like, okay, we just toured this place 2 weeks ago. Why was there no hole before? But now there's a hole. What happened in here? What happened in that 2-week period?
Well, you see, there's a place in France where the naked ladies dance, and there's a hole in the wall so the men can watch it all. I don't know if you knew about that, but
I didn't. But I'm glad that everyone has a home, even if it's in my wall.
The naked ladies, the men, the voyeuristic men.
And so there was this hole, and we're like, well, that's odd. We should get that fixed. And time goes on. Don't hear anything from the landlord about this. About a month later, she's like, okay, I'll send someone out to fix that soon. And we're like, okay, great. Another month passes, and we notice like the hole's getting bigger. The hole is expanding.
Is this the plot of Silent Hill: The Room? Did you ever?
I have played like I'm gonna step through it and get into Silent Hill. It felt like it. It started genuinely the size of like a quarter. At like 3 months in, it gets the size of like a baseball.
No.
The rubble, there's rubble starting to like fall into the like Mount Rushmore just on the ground underneath it.
Teddy Roosevelt's head comes out of the hole.
Yeah. Donald Trump eventually, maybe. But no, so this was a year. This hole was not fixed for a fucking year. And it grew so massive. Like you could actually, if there was something other than rock behind it, you probably could have gone through it. But then eventually, anticlimactic ending. Eventually, a year and a half later, basically, the landlord finally sends a crew to fix it up, and this hole's gone. But I've been just imagine waking up every day, walking out your home, and being like, hole got larger. And not being able to talk about it. Like, imagine not being able to talk about that online in any capacity, because if you described any of it or posted a photo of it, it's over.
Yeah, you can't post a photo. There have been some nights where I've come away from the experience of the evening thinking hole got larger, if you know what I'm saying. Folks.
Josh does poppers. That's right. All right, I just needed to talk about my expanding hole.
So good. You need to talk about your expanding hole.
I have literally been waiting 2 years to talk about this hole.
That reminds me of this is way the hell off topic, but there is a computer game, an old computer game called The Dig. And one time we talked about it on The Worst of All Possible Worlds. It's an old adventure game, one of those old LucasArts adventure games, right?
Yeah.
And there is a line that is in the game, which I will drop into the edit if I can find it, where one of the characters says,
I'm going to see if I can enlarge the hole.
he's talking about a hole that he's been digging. We got a lot of mileage out of that one.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's just something evergreen about a hole.
Yeah.
A hole joke. Yeah. That's incredible.
Well, we're back for another B-side here, specifically talking a bit more about the goddamn motherfucking New York Times, because wouldn't you know it, they published another annoying article.
This one, somehow the title of it is, it stunned me. I could not believe that it was titled, but I think we're going to read it later, but the title of it is "Women Are Too Controlling," she wrote. Her message still resonates. Like, I know it's all about SEO and like shock factor to like get clicks and whatever, but goddamn, at a certain point, we got to like stop this. We have to just like put a stop to this. What are we doing?
And this is not an article that is specifically natalist, I guess, but it certainly speaks to the culture that we talk about on this show. Cheers to one of our babies for actually sending us an email with a link to this article, because that was what sort of prompted me to be like, oh, we should talk about this week. We're also going to be reading a bit from the world famous mailbag, because you've continued to write in with your many, many thoughts and opinions, and we're excited to talk about those. And I don't know, is there anything else that we want to talk about on today's B-side other than these letters and this article? Is there any other fun updates? The whole conversation, we did that.
It was mostly the whole for me. That's cool. Really the big thing in my life right now, and for the last year or two.
It's the whole for me, I'm afraid.
Oh Lord, yeah. No, other than that, I think we're good. It's cool. You can send in more mail if you have not ever. Encourage you to at illconceivedpod@gmail.com.
Yes, please send us your mail, and you may hear your letters read out on the world famous mailbag. And by the way, another thing, I've thought for a long time it'd be really fun to have a little song for the world famous mailbag.
Yeah, we never did anything with that.
Maybe we could get Caleb to do it, or if there's a baby out there who like knows a thing or two about music and would be interested in doing something like that, let us know. I think that's something we'd be interested in potentially doing. And if you're already motivated to make that happen, we'd love to talk to you about it. So, send us an email. Anyway.
It feels wrong that a year in and there's still not something larger than just our announcement of it being, the world famous.
I want like a little sound sting for it, because like I can play this, but that's not right. I'm
that's
not talking
not
about
ours.
No. It's not that,
Could be better.
It's probably not this.
This is nice, though. What is this?
This is
Is this Undercount?
No, this is just the default dramatic piano option in Zencaster. So.
Well, it's very nice. I quite like it.
Yeah.
Should we just like have it under... I feel like this would be good under reading, like mailbag and also articles.
I don't know how long this goes on for, so you know what? I'm in a silly, goofy kind of mood. Let's just go for it.
Just go for it. Yeah, let it go as long as it can.
The first letter for our world famous mailbag this week is one example of quiverful gone tragic. This is here from Stella, and the letter says... Hi, June and Josh. Sorry, Josh. I also grew up in Kenosha, so I've got to give June some hometown love.
Oh my God.
Understandable.
Homie. Kenosha homie.
I'm digging through the back catalog and was listening to the episode on the Quiverful movement. Josh was discussing... Does this just keep going on? Is this a loop?
Do it for this whole mail.
I'll just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Josh was discussing situations where pregnancy may be unpleasant or downright dangerous, and specifically mentioned postpartum depression. This reminded me of the rarely discussed background of the tragedy of Andrea Yates and her children.
This music
I'm actually going to turn off the music.
Dramatic.
I get to turn off the music because otherwise I feel like I'm going to be making fun of this story.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're old enough to remember when Yates murdered her 5 children in 2001. It was obviously a massive news story, but never discussed the events and influences leading up to this absolute nightmare. Andrea was married to noted trash human Rusty Yates, who was an evangelical who was determined to have as many children as possible. Andrea struggled with her mental health prior to having kids, but after her 4th child, her postpartum depression and psychosis reached levels that were dangerous enough for psychiatrists to warn the family against having children. Andrea was inclined to follow this advice, but Garbage Rusty convinced her otherwise, because Jesus and whatever, and they had a 5th child. There are also mentions throughout the story of some whack cult leader, evangelical street preacher, named Michael Warrenecki from, where else? Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Always. What the fuck, dude?
And then there's a parenthetical, seriously, Josh, what's going on in Grand Rapids? And all I can say is Dutch people, and maybe there's something in the water other than the fluoride. Who can say? Both the cult leader and waste of jizz Rusty Yates deny that there was any significant relationship between the Yates family and Warnecki, that he only met Andrea 4 or 5 times, which is, to my knowledge, 4 or 5 times more than I've met a cult leader, so grain of salt, I guess. But I won't go into too many details about the actual murders. The descriptions are out there if you want to know, but it's a devastating series of events. In short, Andrea killed all 5 children. The oldest was 7, and the youngest was under a year old. Her vile husband blamed the psychologists and medications, despite documentation that he knew of their recommendations, including that she never be left alone with the children because her condition was so dangerous. Even during her trial, he was convinced that she would be found not guilty and they could go back to having more children.
What?
There's even more in the story of Andrea Yates that really emphasizes the way that we fail the people who give birth to the children that these supposedly pro-life fuckwads so desperately want to be born. There were so many opportunities to prevent this tragedy, but they were all missed or deliberately ignored. Sorry to be depressing AF, but it's just such a clear example of the dangers of this ideology that isn't often talked about. I promise I'm generally cheerier, or at least as cheery as I can be, living in the US in the year of our Lord 2026. Thanks for such an interesting and well-researched podcast. On the regular, I've fully created parasocial best friendships with both of you. Whoops! Another Wisconsin baby, Stella.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I don't know if you know about the Rusty Yates and Andrea Yates situation. I had never heard of this before. This is
yeah,
fucked up. I'm gonna have to dig more into this just out of pure curiosity. This is fairly recent, I guess, like 20 years ago at this point. But it's horrible that, like, I had recently been talking to someone who knows someone else, basically their cousin, who got convinced to, like, essentially become a trad wife. And it is, of course, not the same situation as the Yates situation.
Right.
But I think the through line I'm trying to make here is men love to do this thing, especially conservative, evangelical, religious men love to do this thing where they sort of are like, you have to settle, you have to like settle down, you have to become my wife, raise my children, like you are just sort of like a vessel for the progeny, essentially. And that absolutely. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know the whole case, but I'm not surprised at all. Well, I think that's maybe the wrong way to put it. But I am not too horribly surprised that someone like this involved in like a cult situation, like was pushed his wife to this point. Not justifying it, of course, but it's like a fucking tragedy.
But it explains some of what might be going on there, just in terms of the sort of underlying presuppositions that you carry with you about what the world is or ought to be. It kind of reminds me, actually, of when we talked about homeschooling and how you have organizations like the Homeschool Legal Defense Association that are running as hard as they can to block any sort of like governmental oversight of this thing, because they're like, well, people will just be good and like there's no need for this kind of oversight. And I imagine probably a pretty similar situation going on over here where like there are systems in place that probably existed in terms of psychiatric care that could have caught this at some point. But again, if you block out the possibility of having any of this be inspected or seen in any way, shape, or form, you can cover things for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my biggest concerns, and I think I made that. I think I hit on that a lot in the homeschooling episode. Is just like the isolation effect that a lot of right wing ideologies tend to have on people, especially when you get to this point of like, okay, you don't trust your child to go to public school because it's woke propaganda, and you have to like raise them the right way. And what is the right way? Instilling insane values onto your children that you were raised with and you truly believe, and it isolates women and wives and whoever else. And the whenever people start to isolate away in that way, especially due to like ideological reasons, to me it's like massive red flag.
Yeah, it creates the cult effect where it's like, well, you can't talk to anybody else because they don't understand you like I understand you.
Exactly.
It's the logic of abuse, whether you are talking about something like this or kids who are put in harm's way or whatever else. All of the avenues that could be open to you to find a way out are closed off to you instead by the people who seek to control you.
Yeah. Goddamn. This is horrible. Poor Andrea.
Well, here's one that is, I think, a little funnier. Do you want to go ahead and read this one, June?
Sure. So this one is titled Pro FMLY, all caps. This is from Alva Jean. I saw this license plate in Portland, Maine, while on my way to hang out with a bunch of queers, lol, and instantly thought, holy shit, the Natalist mobile. And then I thought of your podcast. There's not much else to say in this email other than perhaps a brief observation on how pervasive natalist messaging is in our culture and how dedicated natalists are to spreading it. Bumper stickers have always been the primary place for hackneyed political slogans, but a vanity plate feels like a step above. I'm also reminded...
just for a little bit of context to throw this in as well, the vanity plate in question here is on the back of a Chevrolet. It's a Maine license plate, and the plate says pro FMLY, pro family.
It's so good, dude.
I was so worried that the person driving this fucking Suburban or whatever might be anti-family, but now I know from their license plate that they are in fact pro family.
It's really useful when people put their specific values on their car. Not to derail this email, but really recently, like 2 months ago, I think now, I was doing some shopping and I parked in a parking lot at a grocery store, looked to my left. The car I parked next to was like an RFK Jr. super fan, but not like current RFK Jr. super fan. I'm sure they think he's fine, but this was when he was running as an independent for president, and their car, I kid you not, it was just fucking covered. Every single side had at least 3 stickers of RFK Jr. stickers. It was phenomenal.
RFK
it's like
for president shit. 2020 shit.
20, yeah. No, just beautiful. Well, 2024 because he was running in 2024.
Right. Sorry, 2024. Yeah. Yes.
But it was like absolutely like crank shit. Like
That's
this,
great.
like ultimate libertarian type guy. I was astounded.
Yeah.
I'm also reminded of the endless anti-choice billboards one might see while driving through the South or other conservative areas of the United States. If I wanted to go out on a limb, I might make an observation about how widespread natalist messaging is and around car and car-dependent infrastructure.
Yep.
Cars, SUVs, and minivans being emblematic in a way of the nuclear family. The connection there might be a stretch, but I would say that if car culture doesn't outright encourage natalist ideology, again, especially around how the nuclear family is reified as being natural, God's plan, etc., it at the very least enables it, which invites this messaging into car-centric spaces.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's a reach at all. I think that's
Incredible
a very,
point.
very good and well-observed statement. For a time, lived in Borough Park, which is a neighborhood of Brooklyn that is almost entirely Hasidic Orthodox Jews. And the thing about those families, obviously, is that they are very, very large nuclear families that are very conservative in their orientation and outlook. And everybody has a minivan. And what's really interesting about sort of that neighborhood is that even in fucking Brooklyn, which is in that part of Brooklyn, which is pretty well served by mass transit, there are so many cars that the streets are just unnavigable. And there are constant traffic jams all the time, except obviously for on the Sabbath when nobody drives. But I was so struck by that because it was like, you are spending so much more time getting into your minivan and driving the fucking 12 blocks from here to there when you could just walk,
Yeah.
And I think this is absolutely, there's something about car culture and this idea of like, we need to have our, dare I say it, safe space that's just for us, that the outside world cannot get into, that dovetails perfectly with this very traditional conservative family-oriented messaging.
I think extending car culture to natalism too is honestly, I had not thought of that ever. That is, I think, just a phenomenal connection, because I think it's fair. It's whenever you think of like a right wing protest, you often think of guys with the largest trucks of all time, diesel burners or bullshit.
Yeah, they'll roll
just
coal
driving
or whatever.
They'll drive in a line on a freeway somewhere, and that's their whole protest is like just driving in a line for like 3 hours and stinking up the air around them.
And snarling a lot of traffic. I mean, I'm sure you remember the Canadian trucker convoys and all of that. And the thing about that is that as a form of direct action, it actually is somewhat effective because it doesn't take a lot to clog up the roads because of how inefficient cars are as a method of transportation.
Yeah. Whenever I use my car, I just think this, I can't help but think these days, after getting used to city life and using the public transit a lot more, whenever I take my car out, I'm like, I am contributing to so much more traffic just with my one car. If I wasn't in my car right now, traffic would probably be a little bit better. But all of this to say is that car culture is sort of just American culture, and it's capitalism and
North American culture, I would say too. It's every bit as big of a problem up in Canada as it is down here,
and it just makes sense. I cannot believe that I don't think either of us have ever made that connection. That car culture is also natalism culture. Also, you
need a place to put all your babies.
You do. You have to transport them. If you have like more than 2 babies. That are fairly young. I mean, it's hard to take them on a bus. Like, to be completely real, it's just a harder thing to do.
It is. I mean, I just think about all of the times that I've been on the subway, and you get somebody coming in, especially like a mother coming in with a number of small children, and it's a lot. I would be doing a bit of a disservice to mothers in particular if I did not acknowledge how fucking hard it is to wrangle kids onto mass transit. Like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But I also would argue that if it's like a lot of other things where even with very small children, if you normalize it early on, they'll be chill with it.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of getting them to that point. And ultimately, in many cases, just piling everybody into the car is going to cause less initial friction. And I think that's why America has such a love affair with the minivan and the SUV.
Yeah. I think ultimately, what this is reminding me is that we just need more walkable cities, 15-minute cities, buses, trains everywhere, less cars. That will solve everything.
We need to make sure that nobody can walk more than 15 minutes away from their house. That's what a 15-minute city is, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I think that's what it is.
I love when conservatives think that there's just going to be borders in every direction blocking you out.
Arbitrary borders on a per person basis.
Like
enforced
in a 15-minute walk.
GPS question mark? Like, guys,
barcodes.
Come on.
No, it's genuinely one of those things where it's like, I try to, whenever I like to try to argue my point and try to convince people of whatever I believe. But whenever I see, this is one of those examples where I'm just like, there is just incompetent people out there. There's professionally stupid people.
Yes.
And it's beautiful sometimes. Okay, so this email continues. I keep getting sidetracked. If it's any consolation, the war for vanity plates is not yet lost. Just last night, I saw one that read serve cunt, but it's spelled SERVCNT.
That's incredible that they were able to get that past the DMV. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think I might have a photo of it, but I saw a license plate recently that said Weimar. Like Weimar Republic.
What?
I swear to God, like a year ago at this point. I think it was like, I think I can't.
Was this an Illinois plate?
This was Chicago. Yeah.
Wow.
If I spend time looking for it, I took a picture of it, but I couldn't believe it.
Well, I guess I will say to all of our listeners, whether it's something like serve cunt or something else, if you can find a clever way to get it in there for those who know, please do,
Yeah. Serve cunt is a great one. I gotta say, that's so good. And then the email wraps up with, that ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would be. I hope you're both doing well. I've really enjoyed the podcast thus far, and am excited to see what lays in the future. Sincerely, Alva. Thank you so much. Thank you for this genuinely phenomenal email.
It would be a lot great vanity plate. One that just says, I'm baby.
I could picture the kind of person that would get that too.
Hey there, you're listening to a preview of an ill-conceived B-side. We do these episodes every other week exclusively for our paid subscribers, where we talk about stuff from the show that we weren't able to get to, read your mail from the world-famous mailbag, and also talk about news items and other stuff that is connected to what we've been covering on the main show. If you're interested in getting access, it's just $5 a month, and you can unlock these episodes by heading over to patreon.com/illconceived. Hope to see you there.